Good evening. Welcome to today's edition of the Daily Bulletin of Farmers Struggle. Today is 4th January. I have been away over the weekend. Lots of developments have taken place. There is a meeting that is happening at Delhi's Vigyan Bhavan today between the Government of India and the farmers' organizations. There is obviously a lot of expectation from this meeting, but at the time of this bulletin, the meeting is still going on. So I don't have really much to say about the ongoing meeting. We will get to know in a couple of hours what happens in that meeting, and we shall share the outcome of that meeting in tomorrow's bulletin. In the meanwhile, today I wanted to discuss the issue of the large corporations that are part of this ongoing battle between the government and the farmers. Farmers' organizations have been repeatedly saying that the government is acting on behalf of a select few corporations. They have specifically named the Ambanis and the Adanis. So what I intend to share with you today is some information, and I shall attempt an analysis of whether the Ambanis and Adanis are really the enemies of the country, as the farmers' organizations have been saying. We will go into the facts, or at least the projected narrative, and see how much reliance we can place on that narrative. So, corporates versus farmers, the truth of this narrative. That's the topic for today. I want to first share with you a famous advertisement, which many of you must have seen. It's an advertisement issued by Geo Digital at the time of launch of their service. Can we have that ad, please? There you can see on your screens, this is an advertisement put out by Reliance Group. It shows our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, and Geo Digital Life says it dedicates its service to India and 1.2 billion Indians. A very bold statement from a company out there in the market trying to make profit. It is dedicating its service to India. Almost a government-like, a ruler-like statement. But what's most striking is that the model in this advertisement, and this is an advertisement, it appeared in tens of thousands of newspapers and magazines all over India in 2016. The model of that advertisement is our Prime Minister endorsing Jio, endorsing Reliance, endorsing Mr. Ambani's company. So we have seen that ad, all of us. At that point, it was shocking to see that ad, but we didn't really understand the roots, the depth of the roots of that advertisement. One thing was clear to anyone who saw that ad, that here is a businessman named Mr. Ambani. He has a company. That company is launching a product, and the Prime Minister of India is supporting that launch, supporting that product, supporting that company, supporting that businessman. If the Prime Minister of a country is supporting your business, you must be a pretty powerful person. You must be having friends in very high places. That was the intended message of the advertisement, and it worked. There is another advertisement which I found from the internet. Let's have a look at that. Dedicated to India and 120 crore Indians again. There you see Mr. Mukesh Ambani, the Jio logo, and the Prime Minister right beside him. So Mr. Ambani says that this product is a tribute to realize the digital vision of the Honorable Prime Minister of India. So Jio, its business, its product is in alliance with the vision of the Prime Minister of India Digital India. So Jio is carrying out the policy of the government, the policy, the vision of the Prime Minister. Again, a direct, clear message of proximity of the company and the businessman with the Prime Minister and the ruling party. I will next show you another advertisement, which is a very standard, usual advertisement, where a famous film star, there you see on your screen, Shah Rukh Khan, who welcomes you to the free offer of Jio mobile services till 31st December. So in addition to the Prime Minister endorsing Jio products, Reliance products, a famous personality of India who is a model, who models for other products, endorses other products, endorsing a free service. So a combination of connection with the most powerful person in India and an unbeatable free offer launches the business of Jio. This was the model used in 2016. There was a lot of hue and cry about the company using the Prime Minister as its model. The Prime Minister's office said no permission was taken. We don't know if this is true or false, but the Prime Minister's office informed the people that this was an unauthorized advertisement. A company put out an advertisement using the Prime Minister's photograph with the intention of making billions of rupees in profit, And since that photograph was used unauthorizedly, according to the Prime Minister's office, that company was penalized. Here you see the penalty. For an attempt to make billions of rupees in profit through an advertisement which was illegal, the company was fined 500 rupees. That is the end of the story. I will repeat. A company launching a product endorsed by the Prime Minister, later found to be a false endorsement, penalized 500 rupees. What does that say? It says that I, Mr. Ambani, am so powerful that I can use the photograph of the Prime Minister for advertising commercial products of my company. And if there is a hue and cry about it, I will be given a slap on my wrist and fined 500 rupees only. The 500 rupee fine actually makes Mr. Ambani more powerful than those tens of thousands of advertisements. That message has been drilled into this nation and its people ever since the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, came to power. So this is Reliance, this is Jio, this is Mr. Ambani, and this is our Prime Minister, the connection between these four verticals. Some research has been done to find out what exactly has been the gain of Mr. Ambani and Adani since Mr. Modi came to power in 2014. Here is an article which was published in NewsClick. Now, what that article goes on to say is very interesting, and that is the information, the only information that I have with me at this point, which I can share. The total wealth of the top 100 richest Indian corporate heads, like Mr. Mukesh Ambani, like Mr. Gautam Adani, increased from about 25 lakh crore in 2014 to 32 lakh crore in 2019. That's an average 31% increase. Now, the wealth of this 100 people in 2019 was about 6% of the GDP of India. You can understand, if the GDP of India is 100 people, they are 6 out of that 100. So the whole country is 94. Whole country, 135 crore people, is 94. And just these 100 are 6. But the story doesn't end here. Between 2014 and 2019, Mr. Mukesh Ambani has more than doubled his wealth. It has increased 118% from 1.68 lakh crore to 3.65 lakh crore. 118% in just 5 short years. Mr. Gautam Adani's increase is even more spectacular. His wealth zoomed from 121% from 50.5 lakh crore in 2014 to 1.1 lakh crore in 2019. That will be 50.4 thousand crore. I beg your pardon. So his wealth grew 121%. He climbed the rank from 11th richest to become the 2nd richest man of India. So Mr. Mukesh Ambani is the richest man. Mr. Gautam Adani is the 2nd richest man. This magic happens between 2014 and 2019, where Mr. Ambani's wealth grows 118% and Mr. Adani's wealth grows 121%. Some people will support this and say this was a period of fabulous growth. Many other rich businessmen became richer in this period. So let's have a look at that. What did the other rich men fare in the same 5-year period? Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla, who's an old-timer in the rich list, his wealth grew only by 4%. The wealth of the Godrej family grew by 3%. Mr. Shiv Nadar, the founder of HCL, his wealth grew by 15%. And the construction giant, Shapurji Palanji's wealth actually declined by 6%. The UK-based steel baron, Lakshmi Mittal's ArcelorMittal company's wealth declined by 34%. So it's not that in the 5 years of Mr. Modi's rule, all businessmen were growing fast, rapid, and as quickly as Mr. Adani and Ambani. We have already seen that they have been able to use the Prime Minister in their advertisements. They have been able to project and convince the country that they are friends with very powerful politicians. Given these facts, it is not surprising that the farmers' organizations have an apprehension that these new laws have been enacted for the welfare of people like Mr. Adani and Ambani. And therefore, farmers, poor people, common people, ordinary people feel that Mr. Ambani and Adani are the enemy of the country. The government they have elected is acting in the interest of Mr. Ambani and Adani and for further enhancing enormously the wealth that they have managed to grow by 118 and 121% in the last 5 years. There is another article I want to share with you. It was published in Quartz India. which analyzes and gives details on why the Indian farmers believe that the new laws are rigged in favor of India's richest man, Mr. Mukesh Ambani. That article is available. You can read it. I don't want to take you through the details of that. But let's once come to the farm laws, which have caused so much pain to the farmers, and see what these laws have to say. On your screen first will be the statement of objects and reasons of the first law, the APMC Todo law. The objects and reasons are the policy statement of the government. Whenever the government makes a law, it tells you why it is making that law. So the objects go on to say that the states have enacted these APMC acts to develop market yards as marketplace to provide regulation on marketing practices. Can we have the second photo, please? Objects and reasons. Yes. So these are the objects and reasons. Can we have that off the screen now? So the objects say that the states had in fact enacted these APMC acts to provide regulation on marketing practices. The regulatory provisions, Mr. Modi is now telling you, and listen to this carefully, have hindered the freedom of choice-based marketing and also the inflow of investment in development of alternative markets and marketing infrastructure. So the government is telling you that laws enacted to regulate markets have in fact spoilt markets, and therefore that regulation must go. A government is telling you that it wants to do away with laws that regulate and protect farmers, because if those regulations go, farmers will be better off. I don't know how contra-illogical this can be. A law is made by Parliament, by Vidhan Sabhas, to protect farmers, and here now Mr. Modi comes and say that if these laws go, then farmers will be better off, more protected. I do not know how any serious lawmaker can introduce such a law based on such illogical arguments. The objects also say that the government of India, and this is important, the government of India had circulated Model APMC Act in 2003 when BJP was in power and Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister. And again, the Model Agricultural Produce and Livestock Marketing Act 2017. So twice the BJP has introduced Model APMC Acts. And then it goes on to lament that the states have not embraced the reforms in a uniform manner, and the lack of homogeneity in the laws have been obstructing a competitive pricing environment for the farmers, and is becoming an impediment to the evolution of a modern trading system. So Mr. Modi wants a modern trading system. The laws were impeding that. The laws made by the states were impeding that. So Mr. Modi wants to get rid of the federal structure of India, wants to override the laws made by the states, and wants to make one law. You see, the purpose of these laws, as I've been mentioning again and again, is to ensure that the Ambanis and the Adanis have a free run of the agricultural production, distribution, marketing, and retailing of food. That is the purpose of these laws, and the statements of objects and reasons very clearly tell you that. I will also present on your screen the statement of objects and reasons of the contract farming law, where again, Mr. Modi asserts that only if it was felt that the promotion of agreements for farming produce may strengthen the process of monetization of agricultural produce. So, this law has been made because it may help farmers get better prices and income. Not one simulation, not one study, not one model has been presented by the government to show that the Contract Farming Act works. Can we have the next document, please? And lastly, the object and reason of the Essential Commodities Amendment Act. The objects say that this act was made to regulate the production, supply, distribution, trade, and commerce of commodities which were declared as essential commodities. It says that while India has become surplus, farmers have not been able to get better price due to lack of investment in cold storage, warehouses, processing, and export, as entrepreneurs get discouraged by the regulatory mechanism in the Essential Commodities Act. So businessmen feel afraid of the Essential Commodities Act, so they won't invest. And therefore, the Essential Commodities Act is being torn and thrown away by Mr. Modi. So if businessmen are scared of income tax, Mr. Modi will get rid of income tax. If businessmen are scared of GST, to promote investment, Mr. Modi will get rid of GST. Again, a whole bunch of counter logic, completely illogical positioning to promote corporate houses. I have run out of time today. I did not time myself well. I do want to come back on this. A very important media statement has been issued by Reliance today. It says a whole lot of things which require careful understanding, study, and rebuttal. All I will say today, and I do hope I will get another opportunity to share this statement and discuss it in detail with you, is that Reliance is not in corporate farming. Reliance is not in contract farming. Reliance has nothing to do with purchasing agricultural produce. Yet it goes on to say that Reliance and its affiliates fully share and support the aspiration of Indian farmers to get fair and profitable price on a predictable basis for the produce. Reliance seeks significant augmentation of their income on sustainable basis and pledges to work towards this goal. Again, the illogical positioning. Come to the second statement, second page of the statement, please. Again, this illogical positioning. Flip, please. Reliance has, can we have that off the screen? Reliance has no connection with farmers, no connection with agriculture, no connection with agricultural produce, no connection with contract farming. Yet Reliance says in its statement that it pledges to work towards ensuring that farmers get sustainable, good income. How exactly will that happen if Reliance has no connection with agriculture and farming? Does it even, it beats common sense. So Reliance has issued this statement, which almost sounds like a statement of a government or a power that be, saying that while it defends itself and says that we have no connection with these laws, it goes on to say that we will stand, we wish, and we will work to ensure the farmers' income. Mr. Mukesh Ambani, how exactly will you help farmers get income if you have no concern or connection with agriculture? Please make up your mind. If you have concern and connection with agriculture, we will listen to how you want to help farmers. If you don't, why are you saying anything about it at all? So, this was a bulletin for today. We are waiting for the outcome of the meeting of the farmers and the government. Results should be out in a couple of hours. And we have a lot more to discuss on Mr. Mukesh Ambani and Mr. Gautam Adani. So I will push it to another bulletin, maybe tomorrow or day after. But till then, please pray that the government sees sense and is sensitive towards the hardships that are being faced by the protesting farmers. The government agrees and the government gives in to the demand of the farmers that the three black farm laws shall be repealed and a new law for making MSP a legal right of all farmers for all crops will be enacted. I look forward to seeing you in the next bulletin. Thank you for joining me in this one. Have a good evening.